Welcome learners. In the previous sessions, we have discussed tribal governance and tribal politics. In today's session, I will discuss the structure and dynamics of tribal economy in India. I will elaborate on the types of occupations followed by different tribes in the country. Economy is one of the major subsystems of any societal system. Comprehension of structure and dynamics of the economic system is prerequisite for social work practice amongst tribals. Interestingly, social scientists have observed significant differences between the economic structures of the tribal and the non-tribal societies all over the world. Moreover, the tribal economies in India are at different stages ranging from food gathering to industrial labor types. An economy has a population base. It deals with human beings. An economic system always implies a group of people who are living in a particular territory. It inquires how a given people are engaged in the organization of production for the satisfaction of their wants. An economy is a system of making and trading things of value. It is usually divided into goods, that is physical things, and services, that is things done by the people. It assumes there is medium of exchange, which in the modern world is a system of finance. This makes trade possible. In simple words, an economy is a system whereby goods are produced and exchanged. An economy encompasses all activity related to production, consumption, and trade of goods and services in an area. An economy applies to everyone from individuals to entities such as corporations and governments. The economy of a particular region or country is governed by its culture, laws, history, and geography, among other factors, and it evolves due to necessity. For this reason, no two economies are identical. Market based economies allow goods to flow freely through the market according to supply and demand. The United States is considered a market economy where consumers and producers determine what is sold and produced. Producers own what they make and decide their own prices, while consumers own what they buy and decide how much they are willing to pay. However, the law of supply and demand can impact prices and production. If consumer demand for a specific good increases and there is a resulting supply of shortage, prices tend to rise as consumers are willing to pay more for that good. In turn, production tends to increase to satisfy the demand since producers are driven by profit. As a result, a market economy has a tendency to naturally balance itself. As the prices in one sector for an industry rise due to demand, the money and labor necessary to fill that demand shift to those places where they are needed. Pure market economies rarely exist since there is usually some government intervention or central planning. Even the United States could be considered a mixed economy. Regulations, public education, social security benefits are provided by the government to fill in the gaps from a market economy and help to create balance. As a result, the term market economy refers to an economy that is more market oriented in general. Command based economies are dependent on a central political agent which controls the price and distribution of goods. Supply and demand cannot play out naturally in this system because it is centrally planned, so imbalances are common. Green economies depend on renewable, sustainable forms of energy. These systems operate with the end goal of cutting carbon emissions, restoring biodiversity, relying on alternative energy sources, and generally preserving the environment. Green economies tend to focus on technological innovations that increase energy efficiencies. The goal of green economies is to provide consumption and production while reducing or eliminating any adverse impacts on the earth and its resources. To Dalton, there are three interrelated features that characterize tribal economy. They are: number one, it is a structural arrangement and enforced rules for the acquisition and production of material goods and services. In the process of acquisition and production of goods and services, division of human labor, use of natural resources, and application of technology, that is, tools and knowledge, are involved. The third point in this is in the distribution process, superficial devices and practices such as marketplace and devices for measuring some types of transaction are involved. Thus, economy can be understood as an institutional and normative structure that governs the economic relations among a group of people. This group may range from a tribal village to a modern nation and even the entire world. The major economic processes governed by this system are acquisition, production, and distribution of goods and services necessary for human survival and sustenance. Let us now understand the structural features of tribal economy in India. India is a land of tribes and castes. The tribes are spread all over the country in different geographic zones. Among them, there is not only cultural diversity but also economic diversity. Hence, identifying the common features of tribal economy in India is an uphill task. L.P. Vidyarthi and B.K. Rai have identified 9 structural features that characterize the tribal economies in India. They are: number 1, forest based economy; number 2, domestic or familial mode of production; number 3, simple technology; number 4, absence of profit motive in exchange; number 5, community as a cooperative unit; number 6, gift and ceremonial exchange; number 7, periodical markets; number 8, interdependence; and number 9, economic institution of Dhangar. Let us discuss all these basic features of tribal economy one by one. The first feature of tribal economy is that it is a forest based economy. Tribal economy is embedded in and revolves around the forest ecology. Not only the tribal economy but also the culture and social organization are interwoven with forests. Forests constitute the major natural resource base for tribal livelihood in all the tribal regions of the country. Tribals depend on forests for fulfilling their basic needs. The tribals harness the forest resources with the help of simple implements without much technological aid from the outer world. They collect edible roots, fruits, vegetables, flowers, honey, insects, fish, pigeons, hares, pigs, etc. from the forests for their consumption. The forest dependence of the tribes in the country differs with their economic typology. According to Rai, the Birhors of Chota Nagpur, Chenchus of Andhra Pradesh, Juangs of Orissa, Kadars of Kerala, the Paliars and Paniers of Tamil Nadu depend on forests for their survival and sustenance. The second feature of tribal economy is the domestic or familial mode of production. Family constitutes the basic unit of consumption as well as production in the tribal economies of India. In the simple economy of tribals, all the members of the family together form the unit of production and directly engage in economic process of production and consumption. The decision making processes of allocation of labor and produce are governed by the familial stipulations. The tribal household production is mainly geared for fulfilling their consumption needs rather for the economy. Hence, it is appropriate to call tribal economy as subsistence economy. The division of labor in the tribal household is based on age and gender. The economic roles of tribals generally depend on the members' age and gender. The gendered division of labor is based on the primitive belief that women are physically weak. The boys and girls are allotted different jobs suited to their age. The third feature of tribal economy is simple technology. The development of an economy depends upon the level of its technological advancement. Generally, it is held that technological advancement leads to economic development. Technology involves the use of tools and implements in utilization of natural as well as human resources for productive purposes. The tools and implements used in the productive and distributive process of tribal economy are generally crude, simple, and indigenously developed without the aid from outside. The simple technology used by most of the tribes in the country involves tenuous manual labor and higher degree of wastage and difficulty, which is appropriate to their subsistence level of production. The Birhor, a forest hunting tribe, use very ordinary knife to procure forest raw materials and make ropes manually. The hill cultivators such as Ao Nagas use very ordinary type of axe or a dao for felling the trees for their shifting cultivation, which requires hard labor. The plough of the agricultural tribes such as Munda, Orao and Bhil is made of single piece of wood and cannot plough deep. The fourth feature of tribal economy is absence of profit motive in exchange. Usually, maximization of profit is the main goal of economic transactions that drives the modern capitalistic economies. But the profit motive is quite absent in the economic dealings in the tribal economies of India. Two major institutional factors, that is, the communal nature of tribal economy and absence of money as a medium of exchange, are responsible for this. The mutual obligation and extension of free labor to the fellow beings result in no significant surplus at all. It is also because the exchange of goods and services takes place with barter system rather than money. Money as a medium of exchange is almost absent in the tribal economies of India. Hence, there is no scope for measuring the value of goods and services and storing the profit generated in the exchange process as wealth for prosperity. The fifth feature of tribal economy is community as a cooperative unit. Community works as a cooperative unit in tribal societies and economic activities are carried out in collectively as a group. According to Dalton, the primitive economy is embedded in other community relationships. Dalton held that the factors such as low level of technology, small size of the economy, and its relative isolation from outer world contributes to mutual dependence, people sharing many social relationships. In fact, the economic activities of tribal people are embedded in their neighborhood, religion, kinship, and political relations. In economic interactions, each tribal village community is considered as cooperative unit. According to Vidyarthi and Rai, among the Munda, Orao, Ho, Santhal, Gond, and Bhil tribes, the villagers have close economic relations. Most of them engage in common economic activities such as grazing the cattle, working in the shifting and settled agricultural fields jointly together. Their youth are jointly grazing the cattle and defend their village together. The adult men and women jointly transplant and harvest paddy in each other's fields on a reciprocal basis. The sixth feature of tribal economy is gift and ceremonial exchange. Universally, reciprocal gift giving and hospitality to social intimates plays a vital part in tribal economies. According to Hertzkowitz, the process of distribution in tribal societies is part of non economic relational matrix and takes the form of gift and ceremonial exchange. Each group, whether a family, a group of kinsmen, communities, villagers, or the tribe as a whole, implies appropriate norm of reciprocity. Another well-known social anthropologist, Malinowski, notes that the whole tribal life is permeated by a constant give and take. Every ceremony, every legal and customary act is done to the accompaniment of material gift and counter gift. Economic anthropologist Dalton holds that the tribal mode of transaction is that of reciprocity, that is, material gift and counter gift giving induced by social obligations of kinship. Among the tribes, the degree or level varies from situation to situation and it is not equal. The levels of reciprocity, according to him, are general reciprocity, balanced reciprocity, and negative reciprocity. General reciprocity involves the assistance given and taken back or returned, sharing, hospitality, gifts taken, mutual aid, and generosity. The expectation of reciprocity is indefinite and unspecified in terms of quantity, quality, and time. They are left to the convenience and ability of the donor and the recipient. Balanced reciprocity is the direct exchange, and the return and the goods received should be of equal value. The barter system of exchange of goods and services is the best example of this degree of reciprocity. This form of reciprocity is considered as more economic and less personal as compared to the general reciprocity. Negative reciprocity is an attempt to get something for nothing. The generalized type of reciprocity can be observed among the agricultural tribes of Munda, Orao, Gond, etc. At the time of transplanting paddy, the close and distant relatives come together and help each other. On completion of this agricultural operation, the invitees are offered with food and drink as hospitality. Balanced reciprocity has been observed among the number of tribes, especially in the case of economic transactions between the agricultural and artisan tribes. The agriculturist tribes such as Orao, Munda, Ho, and Khania get their agricultural implements manufactured or repaired by the artisan tribe of Lahars, who in turn receive a customary annual payment in kind or cash. The third form of reciprocity, that is, the negative reciprocity, observed to be non existent among the intra-tribal or inter-tribal economic exchange, but it is the feature of exchange relations between tribals and non-tribals in the weekly markets. The tribals who visit the weekly market to sell their indigenous produce such as green vegetables, minor forest produce with the non-tribal businessmen. In return, they practically get nothing for their goods exchanged. In fact, the economic dealings with non-tribal merchants and moneylenders have contributed to indebtedness, bonded labor, land alienation, and impoverishment among the tribal masses. The seventh feature of tribal economy is periodical markets. Market is a major economic institution that regulates as well as facilitates distribution of goods and services among the people all over the world. Yet, the anthropologists observed the absence of permanent market in the tribal societies. However, in the tribal areas, periodical markets and the system of barter exchange play a vital role in the economic life. These periodical markets are weekly, fortnightly, or bi weekly and are widespread in the tribal areas of Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, etc. These periodical markets, locally known as bazaar, haat, pithiya, shandis, etc., generally serve the tribal villages within the radius of 5 to 10 kilometers and function on a specific place at regular intervals of time. In these markets, people of different tribes and caste groups come together and conduct their business transactions. Nowadays, both barter and monetary transactions are observed to coexist in these markets. Professor Vidyarthi has observed that the native locally produced goods such as food grains, local hand woven clothes, baskets, etc., are exchanged in the barter mode, while money is used in the transactions of non native, that is, produced outside tribal area goods such as salt, mill, clothes, ready made clothes, cosmetics, soaps, etc. The periodical markets have significant impact on the tribal socio-cultural and economic life. They are facilitating cultural interaction among people of castes and tribes in addition to integration of tribal economy with the national and global economy. The weekly market plays a vital role in integrating the tribal economy with wider national economy. It promotes innovation, monetization of tribal economy. According to Sinha, the market is the hub of economic life in the tribal areas. It serves as a center of redistribution of resources and material goods of occupationally diverse communities in the region. The eighth feature of tribal economy is interdependence. The economic relationship among the tribes is often considered as one of interdependence, while the spirit of competition is almost absent in the tribal economic life. The relationship between tribes, within tribes, or tribal people and non tribal people are functionally interdependent. Vidyarthi and Rai observe that the economic functional interdependence is similar to the Jajmani system found among the Hindu caste groups in most of the regions of the country. Under the Jajmani system, each caste group within a village is expected to give certain standardized service to the people of other castes. The family head served by an individual known as the Jajman, while the man tribes has been observed in different tribal zones of the country in variety of ways. This feature of tribal economic interdependence can be better illustrated with an example from Tamil Nadu observed by well-known anthropologist Herskovits. Herskovits has observed the functional relationship between the four primitive tribal groups in the Nilgiris. These are the Badaga, the Kota, the Toda, and the Kurumba. The artisan Kotas serve the agriculturist Badaga and pastoral Toda households with pots, knives, iron tools, and music, receiving in return food grains from the former and milk products, buffaloes, etc., from the Todas. The Kurumbas provide magical and ritual services to the others and in return get food grains, milk products, etc., from the others. The ninth feature of tribal economy is economic institution of Dhangar. Among the agriculturist tribes of India, a peculiar economic institution of labor attachment was observed by the anthropologists. This institution of labor is known as differently among the landed tribes, facilitates effective utilization of human labor and land in cultivation. It is called hunger among the tribes of Jharkhand, while Begal among the Bhumijis of West Bengal. Similar institution of labor attachment and absorption was observed among the Tharus of Tarai area, Khasas of Himalaya, and Rangma Nagas of northeast India. He is from the same tribe and more often belongs to the same village. The person so employed is known as Dhangar among the tribes of the Orao, Munda, and Ho, the prominent tribes of the state. The Dhangar is generally engaged on an annual basis, but this tenure may be prolonged further depending on the nature of relationship between both the parties. From the day of engagement, he is treated as a family member of the landlord and treated alike. He is regarded more as an assistant rather than as servant by the landlord's family. Apart from some annual payment in cash or in kind, the Dhangar is provided with food and a roof. Interestingly, he can even marry the landowner's daughter or sister if he is from a different clan. To conclude, in this session, we have seen the structural features of tribal economy, the economic typology of tribes in India, and the forces and process of economic change therein. As we know, economy is an institutional mechanism for regulating the human activities of acquisition and production of goods and services, as well as their distribution among the people. We have also discussed the characteristics of tribal economic systems in India, such as forest based economy, familial mode of production, simple technology, absence of profit motive, economic cooperation, gift and ceremonial exchange, periodical markets, etc. So, learners, I believe this session was helpful to you. Thank you.